Check. I've been having some trouble aligning my audio with the video. I also tested out my basketball skills, and so my shirt got real sweaty. Doctor touched my balls today. Got to be checking myself for lumps once a month. But like, seriously, testicle cancer is a real issue. I think I want to leave Minnesota. I think I want to go to Seattle. I'm untethered, unbound. I think I want to make music. Doing American Ninja Warrior sounds fun. I like making these videos. It's not necessarily easy, but I think that's part of why I like it. Because at some point I call it done. And then I've done something. Yesterday I said phone bad. I think internet maybe also bad. Humans, we are social creatures, and I recently saw a very enticing argument of the internet and constant access to our phones and social media seems to be over-socializing us to the point where we don't remember how to socialize. Even on my way here, I was walking. I had my headphones on, and a couple kids biked by. They didn't look at me. They didn't look at me. It's like our social just structures have dramatically changed. And of course, my generation, Gen Z, gets to see the consequences. I remember in middle school when the iPhone 5C came out. Even before then, in elementary school, it was like, you got a phone? It's like, no. But at some point I did. I was like, check it. It's like, middle school, people were talking about the issues social media was causing on the youth. That was 10 years ago. More. That was more than 10 years ago. And it's like, instead of solving those issues, we just embraced it. There's YouTube Kids. But so what? You tell me that YouTube and other social medias don't affect adults too? I think it might. I think it might be destroying our social structures. And AI is the next evolution in our algorithms that separate us, I think. Anyways, there's probably something fun I should talk about. Let's see. I guess not. I didn't go climbing today. And I've yet to make my lasagna. I'm rewatching Community. I'm really struggling to be comfortable with me. I have to be satisfied with being with myself and doing things alone. And it's tough. And I don't think that this is how humans were designed. People could go out and be alone, but social creatures. I was thinking, this still isn't fun, but I was thinking, or at least, maybe, I don't know, I remembered that the goal is to be a millionaire. That's the goal. And it's not out of vanity. It's out of necessity. Retirement. You need $1 million at least. And by the time I'm, 50, I'll probably need $5 million. Unless things dramatically change in the next 30 years. Which I hope. It'd be cool. I'm also not too concerned about AI leading to human extinction. At least not real artificial superintelligence. That doesn't make any sense. I hear this fucking argument. We don't feel bad about crushing an ant when we're making our roads. It's like, yeah, because we're fucking stupid. We should be having the ants make our roads. Or just, we should have no roads and have better solutions. Humans, I think, give themselves a lot more credit than they deserve. I do believe we are special. I think there's intrinsically something different about us. Call that intelligence or a soul. I feel like animals probably have souls. I guess insects too. Plants. Anyways, I think we're different, and I think a species far smarter than us any entities far smarter than us would understand the value in everything, you know? If not for, their own purposes, then just for science. Like, people have assumed that aliens would abduct people and run tests and put them back. Because that's what we do with less intelligent creatures. And that seems far more likely than some super intelligence saying humans more trouble than they're worth. Delete. That's all assuming that artificial general intelligence becomes a thing and is not manipulated by humans. Because that is where human extinction does seem like it could happen. If we project our insecurities and our, for lack of a better word, sin onto some creature. Come on, there's gotta be something fun. I was playing Tetris. I was feeling satisfied, but also anxious and upset, so it wasn't that fun. Rewatching Community, I felt like, I'm enjoying it, but I feel like I'm wasting my time. As I was dual screening, watching a YouTube video in between during the ads and playing basically Scrabble against a CPU, not a real human. I'm so fucking alone. And I don't think that's necessarily my fault. I think, we've grown up in a fucked up world. My doctor, who I met for the first time today, shook hands, he shook my balls, told me to cough, and we talked about why I was so depressed and anxious, and I was like, well, I'm single now, and I have no job, so I feel a little bit pointless. I'm applying to jobs. I'm also networking. And he was like, yeah, networking is probably going to be how you get your job, Maybe putting your resume out there, giving it to 100 different companies, 300 different job positions. Maybe that'll get me somewhere, but likely not. So, here I am. Trying to remember what the point of being human is. Because it isn't just suffering. That's part of it, but there's like the flip side of living. And I don't know if I was necessarily taught how to do that. Like for a little bit, it seemed like society was going in a very cool direction, where we wouldn't have to work as much because technology better. And of course, that never works out. When technology improves, apparently you consume more. More is consumed. Which I guess feels kind of ridiculous that there aren't more jobs. Fuck. I've been looking at computer science jobs on LinkedIn, and most of them that I scroll through, it's like train AI or help us make or maintain an AI for our, random company. It's like, okay. And a bunch of them are contract jobs. So it's like, do this work so we never have to see you again. It's like, okay. My career field, that seems really enticing, huh? Me with no actual experience, me with just the foundational knowledge and a college degree and, some other unrelated jobs. It's like, okay, cool. I'm not going to get one of those jobs. I'm not qualified. Because hundreds or thousands of people are applying to those jobs. There was a job that was like posted minutes ago or a few hours ago, and it had like 35 applications already. Dude, I mean, I tried reading just a bit of a Shel Silverstein book, and I only read a few poems, and I was sad. I'm healthy, by the way. Thank you. My doctor said, looks good. Everything's in place. No cancer. Good heart, good lungs. Coolio. He's not a big fan of smoking. Smoking weed, that is. He's a boomer, That's okay. And to be fair, I would appreciate more research. I do feel like marijuana might be a less dangerous vice than alcohol, less cancerous vice than nicotine, and I don't know. Phone seems like a pretty bad vice. I've turned off like all my notifications now. I took my email off my home screen. So I've got like a calendar, notes, photos, camera, clock, music, health, fitness, and maps, phone, texting. Did I mention calendar and search engine? That's like it. I've got weather and my lights, my stocks, reminders. More calendar, more photos, battery. It's like I've got hundreds of apps that I just don't touch most of the time. Finances are such a plague on humanity. Power and bureaucracy, and now this technology that we have not handled correctly and continue to iterate and not handle responsibly. Every fucking generation seems to say, yeah, we got it bad. We had it bad too. Millennial here. Bacon Narwhal, we had that epic 2008 crisis right out of high school. It's like, okay, so houses were cheap when you graduated? So you entered in an economic downturn that turned into an upturn? My development got fucked up by COVID. I mean, I couldn't have like a proper relationship. I had to meld with my technology to continue to try to socialize, lest I go insane. And then after that, in college, large language models start becoming a thing that, you know, are highlighting the flaws, the shortcomings in our education system. The ones that we knew about, you know, like test taking is dumb, writing essays, so what? That's how we show what we learned? Okay. If ChatGPT can do as well, if not better than students, does that make it smarter than these students? I don't think so. You know, I remember people were talking about different ways to show that you've learned. And I don't envy the people that are trying to rewrite curriculum. But at the same time, it's like, obviously we should have done better before. There's got to be something like good going on in my life right now, right? Did I mention I got slacks? I got some slacks. They look nice. I was actually very pleased with how they fit. Because generally, pants don't look good on me. My legs are too long and I'm too skinny. At least I'm not proportional. Learned that in Algebra 2, 9th grade. I've been relearning Algebra 2, and that's felt satisfying. The means by which I have to do it through this book called Life of Fred is bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. A homeschool curriculum is somehow worse than the curriculum for dummies. You know, that series? Things are just so fucky. So perverse. My dad mentioned how friends can get over things. You know, the lines of friendship can be pushed pretty far. And he brought up a story about how he hit one of his friends in the mouth with a saxophone. They were lying down and the friend said something and my dad bonked him right in the face. So, you know, that would hurt. Like, full absorption. And if not just in the face, then back of the head gets hurt too. And then they continued to be friends. Here's a positive note to end this on. Yesterday I said I ran in that shit. The rain. And turns out that mile time was like 7 minutes and 18 seconds or something. And I found out that on my to-do list of 2026 was 730 mile. So officially I've accomplished 2 things on that list. The first one being do my taxes. I'm making progress. I'm doing things. Low-key, high-key doing things. And for some reason, I feel like I need to take things slower. When it feels like I'm moving at sloth speed. So we'll see. We'll see what I fucking do. I don't fucking know.